AITA for making an "if he's not ready on time, he stays home" policy against my wife's wishes? My wife, 31F, and I, 33M, have a 3-year-old boy. He currently goes to daycare during the day. I generally drop him off, and then my wife's mother will pick him up. My wife cannot drive, so she unfortunately cannot take him. I have found that if I get my son out the door by 8:45, I can get him to daycare and then be on time for work. Unfortunately, my wife tends to drag her feet with getting him fed and ready, so she has caused me to be late multiple times. I am in a field where I simply cannot be late, and therefore this situation is unacceptable. I have been late 4 times since he started going to daycare, and my wife has only gotten less consistent. Last Wednesday, I realized that if I waited for my wife to get him fully ready, I'd be late to work. I simply walked out the door. She called me screaming angrily, but I told her that if she didn't want him to stay home, she should have had him ready on time. The next day she managed to get him out right at 8:45. But on Friday it became clear again that she was going to cause me to be late. I just walked out the door. She texted me multiple times, and when I got home at around 11 p.m., she had a lot to say about it. I don't think I'm the asshole for my policy, seeing as I simply cannot afford to be late to work. But I wonder if there's something I'm not seeing here. Wait, you leave at 8:45 a.m. and don't get home until 11 p.m.? I'm not saying you're wrong. More info is needed, but it's starting to make sense why daycare is necessary. NTA. Okay, after reading the comments. Guy works 2 jobs to essentially pay for everything while his wife is not employed and doesn't drive because of anxiety. And he's not home till 11 p.m. and has to be asleep within the hour he's home. With the child being at daycare during the day, all that would be left for the wife to do potentially is dinner and maybe some light cleaning. Not even laundry, since Op does his own. Either the wife has postpartum depression or just doesn't want to do it. NTA, this is completely and utterly ridiculous. You are working 13 hours. Not getting home till 11 p.m. and then doing chores before you go to bed? Your wife doesn't drive, doesn't work, doesn't look after the kid all day, and still cannot get him sorted on time so you can take him to daycare and be at work on time and not lose your job. The job that's paying for her entire lifestyle to do nothing. This is a bigger problem than the kid not being ready on time. This is a come to Jesus talk time with your wife. NTA, based on your answers, the least she can do is get the kid ready on time. It'll be worse if you get fired from your job. Maybe your kid can shower in the evening and just wash his face in the morning, so it's pretty much just breakfast needing to be done. He can even eat a sandwich in the car OTW to daycare. And you do realize this is not a sustainable arrangement. You will die with this 2-job schedule while she is mentally unwell. If she wants this to work, as a wife and mother, she needs to actively find treatment for her anxiety disorder. There's her asking for a bit of help, and there's screaming at you for you asking her to step up a bit. Big difference. Was she like this before having a child? Could it be some kind of extended PPD that got worse? Don't forget to thank Mill for helping out. NTA. Your wife is either depressed or extremely lazy and manipulative. Get her to go see a doctor. You should not be working 13+ hours a day whilst she sits around doing nothing whilst child is on daycare. She can't even be bothered to do your laundry. Was she working before she got pregnant? NTA, but what you are doing is unsustainable. You are going to burn yourself out. Also, you are missing your kid growing up. I have to ask, what does your wife bring to the table? It doesn't sound like much. You are working 2 jobs, doing laundry and probably more chores around the house. Your wife is getting the child ready in the morning and? How long does her mother stay after dropping him off from daycare? Definitely NTA here. You work full days. And your wife is unemployed. I'll start by saying that the excuse of being overwhelmed by keeping your child home is ridiculous. She wanted to have a child. Then she needs to be a parent. Simple as that. Secondly, it's not like you're asking her to have your child ready at 4 a.m. 8:45 a.m. is more than reasonable. And if she can't respect that you have a schedule and a job to be at, then she needs to give her head a shake. Lastly, I understand there are legitimate reasons for people not to get their license. Specifically health reasons. But if she's avoiding it solely based on the fact that she doesn't want to, or it makes her anxious, then she needs to do a little bit of growing up here. I'm sorry if my response sounds a bit harsh, but parenting is a two-way street, and it sounds like she's not holding up her side of things. Good luck, op. I hope for your sake this situation can get resolved. Info. Does your wife work? If she works, even from home, I think you need to be a father and take responsibility for getting your child ready to go in the morning to be ready when you leave. Edit. Honestly, it sounds like you have bigger problems in your marriage than just how quickly your kid gets ready for daycare. Sounds like you're working yourself to the bone. And for what? NTA. After reading the comments, I'm sorry to be blunt, but your wife is dead weight. You're outright just financing her doing whatever she wants while you work your butt out all day long. That's not how it works, and quite frankly I would have started to suspect either cheating or just that she's exploiting you so she can keep being unemployed and doing what she wants all day. And on top of this, she can't even manage to drag herself out of bed and be ready by 8:45. The vast majority of us will be on the highway by 7 o'clock to go to work. Personal advice. Put your foot down that she either gets a job or becomes a SOM. So you can maybe drop a job if you have multiple or work less hours. Save on daycare and maybe spend more time with your kid. I only say the kid because quite frankly, in my humble opinion, your wife couldn't care less about you. NTA. I mean honestly, this subreddit is mental. This guy is out of the house from 8:45 until 11 p.m. working 2 jobs to pay for his family's lifestyle, while his partner is unemployed, and still has to do housework when he gets home, barely getting to sleep by 1 a.m. And some of these posters think he's an AH for not helping her out in the mornings? JFC. Info. What are the circumstances your wife thinks you don't understand? NTA. But, op, you have much bigger problems. You have a wife who doesn't work or take care of your child, and you work 13-hour days to afford daycare and your lifestyle. What is your wife's contribution? Has she been assessed by a specialist for her anxiety? Does she attend therapy to manage her anxiety and be able to live a full life? Anxiety is out of her control, but how she manages it very much is in her control. One of my friends has terrible anxiety. She attends frequent therapy sessions, yet she works full-time and is able to parent a child too. You cannot go on like this, you'll burn out. And then what? Your wife needs to take responsibility for her own mental health and not make it your burden. Based off your other comments, NTA. But I would suggest editing your post with the answers you keep having to answer. NTA. Your wife needs to pull her weight in the marriage. SAHW is overwhelmed with 1 kid, but you are alright with 13 hours workday. You're her husband, not just her meal ticket. She has responsibilities towards you, your marriage and kid. This is no way to live up. You will get seriously burnout. Take care of yourself first and get her the reality check she needs. Info. Does your wife work from home? Until you're unemployed, able-bodied wife needs to get a license, and from your other comments a job. I have read through the comments and Op's replies. Op, your wife sounds outright lazy and entitled. And it sounds like she almost enjoys the victimhood of the situation. She has the makings of a terrible role model, let alone mother if she's going to pass on these traits to a child willingly. Op, it's time to lay down the law respectfully, and if she is not willing to come to the party, you know what to do. NTA based on your comments, follow-ups. This situation seems really untenable. You're working 2 jobs and she seems like she barely fulfills the SAHP role at all. What does she do all day? NTA. Since your wife doesn't work, why is your son in daycare at all? You're working yourself into exhaustion 14 hours a day. And she's a SOM who's not taking care of your kid during the day. Something is off here. Why does he need daycare if she's unemployed?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.